Today I'm going to look back at my old English language paper 1 question 5s. That's the description and the story task. I always pick the photo. If you've not watched my first video about this question, I recommend you go and watch that, because this video I'm going to show you some examples. So let's get into it. Right, this is the first paper we're going to be looking at. This was the scene and I picked this person as my perspective. So if you've not watched my first video, I would always pick a perspective point to write from. So I'd write as this person. That could be a person or an object, etc. But for this one, I wrote as this person here. Now here you can see my plan. Now, as I said in the other video, I always picked 5-ish points of focus. So these were the 5 points of focus, and I'd always use a cyclical structure. So as you can see, the first and the last point are the same because they're both going to create that cyclical structure that helps you get high marks. Now I'm not going to read this all out, but I'm just going to point to the features that I'd always use. So here you can see the word fatuous, which is an ambitious vocabulary word meaning useless that I put in every single one of my tasks. Ambitious vocab is one of the criteria. This was another metaphor that I used in every one, and there is a triple around here as well. This bit's not that great. Here is another metaphor about shadow that I used in every single thing I wrote. And here we have a one-line paragraph. I love putting in these one-line paragraphs because they're really easy to do and they get good marks. More good metaphors here. As you can see, my answer's really well structured. I'm just going to pause so you can give it a read if you want to just give it a screenshot. Lots of metaphors throughout, lots of one-line paragraphs, and all these metaphors are sort of the ones that I reuse. I've got a video on metaphors that I reuse constantly. And here is the final bit. I also try to use a little bit of dialogue in my descriptions because it's actually the same mark scheme as for the story, and they do like a little bit of punctuation variability, so speech marks does really help with that. And as you can see, this bit here creates my cyclical structure. We return back to the person's footsteps and it creates that cyclical structure. This picture here is another one. As you can see, this arrow here is pointed to the building, so it's on the side. This is the perspective that I chose. And here was my plan. Always make sure you're planning this task. As you can see, I use a cyclical structure again. Here are the one-line paragraphs, and if you give it a read, you will see the same metaphors that I used in the other one. Yeah, this is another example. I also sometimes use, as you can see up here, I did sometimes use capital letters, which I really hated doing, but it did help you get marks because they like that sort of weird language feature that helps you sort of put random things in, like the capital letters there. And again, some ambitious vocabulary. I hope that helps. If you do want to read them, just pause the video, take some screenshots and give them a read. Those were all answers that got me grade 9s, and just a disclaimer, I'm not saying they're good pieces of writing, I'm just saying these are ways that I would get a grade 9 in my GCSEs. If I was going to go and write a book, I would not use that sort of language, but those are the sort of things that tick the mark scheme and get you